Hello everyone, I'm Karim Anso. So today we'll be talking about the 20 amino acids. As you all know, amino acids are classified into two large groups. We have proteinogenic amino acids and we have non-proteinogenic amino acids. The 20 amino acids that you know, they are proteinogenic amino acids because they are found in proteins. They form part of proteins. But there are other amino acids which are not found in proteins but do other functions in the body. They are said to be non-proteinogenic amino acids. So today we'll be talking about the 20 amino acids which are found in proteins and their structures. So let's start. In general, when you want to draw structures in chemistry, well, it depends on your choice. It depends on you. If you decide to use skeletal forms of structures, it's okay. You can also use the condensed form of structures. But today we'll be using the skeletal form of the amino acids and how to easily recognize them as well as how to easily draw them. For details about the amino acids, you can visit our website and find more info there. So let's start. All the 20 amino acids are said to be alpha amino acids, or they are amino acids where the nitrogen is attached to the first carbon after the carboxylic acid group, with the exception of proline, which is attached to not just the alpha, but also to the delta. So, all amino acids which are proteinogenic are having this general structure. First of all, why are they called amino acids? They are amino acids because they have two main functional groups, amino group and carboxylic acid group. That makes them amino acids. But in chemistry, we recognize the position of functional groups based on where they are attached as regards the other in relation to the other functional group. For example, this is the main functional group, carboxylic acid group. So if this nitrogen is attached to the first carbon after the carboxylic acid group, this carbon is said to be alpha amino acid. If, for example, let's say you're having a structure like this. The amino group is attached to the second carbon after this functional group, carboxylic acid group. So it's said to be a beta amino acid. So, mainly, the 20 amino acids are alpha amino acids, with the exception of proline, which is mostly classified as an amino acid. Let's start with the first amino acid. The simplest amino acid that we have is glycine. Glycine has two carbons. We have the carboxylic acid group. We have the amino group. So as you can see, this is glycine. It has only two carbons, first carbon and second carbon. It has no extra group or R group. Remember, amino acids are represented by three-letter abbreviations. So glycine, as you know, Glycine, it starts with the first three letters Gly. So we use the Gly to represent glycine. Glycine is very important because it's also found in a very important compound known as glutathione. Glutathione is an antioxidant in the liver, which consists of glycine. It also has cysteine. It also has glutamate in the form of gamma. But we'll talk about them in details later. Next amino acid that we have on the list is alanine. Alanine, like glycine, has amino group and carboxylic acid group. The difference between these two amino acids is the number of carbon atoms. So as you can see, below the line is glycine, and methyl group attached to glycine becomes alanine. And the three-letter abbreviation for alanine is ALA. Next. The next amino acid that you need to know is phenylalanine. As you know, there are two parts to this name. We have alan and phenyl. Phenylalanine. So it's like phenyl group attached to alanine. In chemistry, when we say phenyl, we mean benzene as a substituent. So if we have an alanine already, which we have drawn, and we know phenyl is benzene. This is phenyl group. Phenyl group, benzene. So when it exists, when benzene exists as a substituent, we say phenyl. So we are now taking phenyl group here and attach it to alanine, and it becomes phenylalanine. So as you can see, we have glycine, we have alanine, and then we have phenylalanine. Phenylalanine. And the three-letter abbreviation for phenylalanine is PHA. PHA. Phenylalanine. Next, we have what we call tyrosine. Tyrosine is just like phenylalanine, but with an OH group. It becomes tyrosine. And the three-letter abbreviation for this is TYR. Sorry. So you can see the logic in this, that the amino acids are so similar to each other that it's very simple to recall. Firstly, when we want to draw any amino acid, always start with the base, amino group and carboxylic acid group. And this is the simplest. It is glycine. When you add a methyl group to it, it becomes alanine. Phenyl group, phenylalanine. Phenylalanine with an OH group becomes tyrosine. So now we'll be talking about the next amino acid, which is valine. As the name implies, valine, it starts with a V. So if you want to draw the amino acid valine, as you do any other amino acid, starting with the base, amino group, and carboxylic acid group. It is valine, well, because you can assume it has V shape. How is the V? Like this, the normal V. So it's like V and an inverted V connected with a line here. So this is valine. So you draw the base and you draw a V, you form valine. And the three-letter abbreviation for this amino acid is VAL. Val. Next amino acid is called leucine. Leucine is like valine, but with an extra methyl group or carbon. So it's like amino group, carboxylic acid group, and extra carbon before drawing the V. So normally valine is like this. You join the two V's directly, but in leucine you have to have a carbon between the two V's. So that's leucine. This is the three-letter abbreviation for leucine. Next, the most important thing in chemistry, if you want to remember a lot of stuff, you need to understand IUPAC naming system. It may help you a lot. For example, here we have leucine and what we call isoleucine. As you already know in chemistry, an isomer or isomers, they are like compounds that have the same molecular formula but different structures. So the difference between leucine and isoleucine is a position of the methyl group. So as you can see in this compound leucine, first carbon, second carbon, third, fourth, and fifth. The methyl group that we're having here is on the fourth carbon. For isoleucine, it's on the third carbon. So that's the difference. So if you know that the structure of leucine is this, you can draw isoleucine. So now we're going to move this group to this position, and it becomes isoleucine. Now we'll go to the next amino acid, serine. Serine as any amino acid has to be drawn with a base of amino group and carboxylic acid group. Serine is like alanine with an OH group. So you draw alanine and you attach an OH group to it. It becomes serine. And the three-letter abbreviation is SER. The OH that is attached to serine gives it a very significant role in phosphorylation reactions. Amino acids that have OH in them are on these amino acids that we do phosphorylation reaction, where we can add phosphate group to them in order to influence cellular reactions. Next amino acid is cysteine. So it's like alanine with an SH group. Cysteine. Cysteine. So cysteine is having a three-letter abbreviation of CYS. Also very important, cysteine has an SH group. This SH group is very important because it is found in glutathione, where we can use it as, our body uses it as an antioxidant, meaning it can donate the hydrogen group. So the hydrogen group can be given away in order to prevent oxidative stress in cells in our body. But we'll talk about these classifications later. Next amino acid that we have is threonine. It's very important to remember that threonine is like serine with extra methyl group. So we're having serine with a methyl group attached to it. It becomes threonine with a three-letter abbreviation of THR. And it's also very important to note that threonine is an OH-containing amino acid, just like serine and tyrosine, and they are involved in phosphorylation reactions. So we have glutamic acid and we have aspartic acid. Aspartic acid is a 4-carbon amino acid that is carboxylic, dicarboxylic. So, as we all know, almost, you should know this, that all amino acids have two functional groups, amino group and carboxylic acid group. But these amino acids have an extra carboxylic acid group that makes them acidic. So we have aspartic acid, which is having 4 carbons. 4 carbons. How to easily remember? You can draw it as N. N, as you already know, there are 4 main points on N. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to have your carboxylic acid group here. You're going to have your amino group here, and the extra carboxylic acid group at the end. This is aspartic acid or aspartate. So mostly when it is in form of salt or ionized, we say aspartate or aspartic acid. And the 3-letter abbreviation is ASP. If you want to draw it this way, just note that there are 4 carbons in aspartic acid. So this is the first carbon, second carbon, third and fourth, which is the carboxylic acid group extra. The next amino acid that is acidic is called glutamic acid. Glutamic acid is a 5-carbon dicarboxylic acid. So you have amino group, carboxylic acid group, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an extra carboxylic acid group. It is said to be a dicarboxylic acid. Monoamino dicarboxylic acid. Simplest way to remember how to draw glutamic acid is W. So aspartic acid is a 4-carbon amino acid, so it's represented by N. and glutamic acid, W. Like this. So you have your carboxylic acid group here and your amino group here, with the extra carboxylic acid group here. So we have glutamic acid. And the three-letter abbreviation is GLU. So we're talking about the next set of amino acids, which are amides. So as we did before, we have aspartic acid and glutamic acid. So aspartic acid has asparagine and glutamic acid has glutamine, as the name implies, in. So instead of OH, we are going to have an amino group. So aspartic acid, as we all know, is a 4-carbon compound with amino group and carboxylic acid groups. So instead of OH here, we are going to have an amino group. It makes it not an acid, but an amide. So we're having an amide. Asparagine. And please note the difference between the three-letter abbreviation of aspartic acid and asparagine. Aspartic acid is ASP and asparagine is ASN. It helps you to remember N amino group because of the amino group that is attached to the carbon here. Remember, this is a functional group. It is not independent, so they work as a unit. This is an amide group, so we use N here, not P, as its own three-letter abbreviation. Next amino acid is glutamine. As you already know, that glutamic acid is a 5-carbon amino acid which has 2 functional carboxylic acid groups. So for glutamine, instead of an extra carboxylic acid group, we are going to have an amide group in the place of the carboxylic acid group. So we are going to have these 5 carbons represented as W, and instead of OH group, we are going to have amide. So we're going to have amino group in the place of OH group. So this is glutamine, and it is represented as GLN. So the difference, glutamic acid with a U and glutamine with an N. So just remember that it is an amide. We have an amino group here, so it's going to be N, GLN. So lysine is a basic amino acid because it has 2 amino groups. So we classify it as diamino monocarboxylic acid. So as any amino acid is drawn with a base of amino group and a carboxylic acid group. It has 6 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbons. And amino group attached to the 6th carbon. So this is lysine. LYS. It's very important to note that if you miss a carbon here, it becomes ornithine. That's why it's very important when you draw structures in chemistry to be careful about the number of carbons or atoms that you have of each element. For example, if you draw lysine as this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an amino group here, this will no longer be lysine, even though they look similar, but the number of carbon atoms makes them different. So this one is lysine and this one will be ornithine. And ornithine is not a proteinogenic amino acid because we cannot find it in proteins. It is used in the urea cycle. So the next amino acid we have is histidine. Histidine is having the structure 4,5. So you're going to have NH in one direction and a double bond in the other, and you give it a space. So there's going to be a space between the amino group and the next amino group. So we are going to have one nitrogen here, space, and nitrogen. And after the double bond, you're going to give a space and give it another double bond. That becomes histidine. And three-letter abbreviation of histidine is HIS. The next amino acid we have is arginine. Like any other amino acid, a base of amino group and carboxylic acid group. So for arginine, we are going to count 1, 2, 3. The fourth one is amino group, and you're going to have a carbon, and you're going to have double bonded nitrogen with a hydrogen, and from this carbon you're going to have amino group. So this is arginine. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth one is amino group, NH, and then you're going to have carbon, then a double bond and a single bond. So we're having arginine, ARG. Tryptophan. So tryptophan is an amino acid that has two rings in it. Like any other amino acid, we have to start with an amino group and a carboxylic acid group. So we're going to have two rings attached to it. We're going to have one that is 5-sided and the other that is 6-sided. So we're going to have amino group attached here, NH, here. Then we're going to have a double bond on opposite sides. As well, we have benzene ring here. Double bond, space, double bond. Double bond, space, double bond. This is tryptophan. And the three-letter abbreviation is TRP. The next amino acid that we have is methionine. Methionine, as the name implies, methionine. So as any other amino acid, we are going to have amino group and carboxylic acid group. This is methionine. We have 1 carbon, 2, 3, 4, and an S group or thiol group. Thiol in chemistry means sulfur. Then methyl group. So it's very simple to remember. You have methionine. So when you see a methyl group with sulfur, you're going to have methionine. Next amino acid that we have at hand is proline. Proline is very important to note that all the 20 amino acids that we have are said to be alpha amino acids. Proline is special. Why? As you can see, we mostly draw the amino acids, the 20 amino acids as this, having this base. Amino group attached to the first carbon or the alpha carbon and something else attached, represented as R. For proline, it behaves differently. It has a different structure. So, where is a pentagon? It is a ringed structure. It is cyclic. So, we are going to have a carboxylic acid group attached to a pentagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, you're going to have NH group here. So, as you can see, all the amino acids, for example, let's say alanine. The amino group in alanine is attached to the first carbon here. For proline, this amino group is attached not just to the alpha carbon. So we have alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So it's attached to two different carbons. So it is said to be an amino acid. Proline. Amino acid. So it's a terminology that we use for proline as an amino acid because the amino group is not just attached to the first carbon, but it's also attached to the delta, not just to the alpha carbon. So this is how to easily remember the 20 amino acids which are proteinogenic. In the next video, we'll be talking about the classifications of amino acids. We have different classifications of amino acids. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. We'll see you again next time.